We have to say the lost word, no. There has to be a line in the sand where we say this far and no further. And let me tell you what my line in the sand is. When speech is curtailed or weaponry is begun to be removed or confiscated. Those are my lines in the sand. Because one makes my physical defense impossible, and one makes the communication of truth impossible. And we're seeing the first, and they're trying to get the second one done, but we're seeing the curtailing of free speech and censorship happening in this country that's supposed to be a land where free speech rights are protected. Because when the last word is not, the lost word is not accepted, and people will not back down when they're told, no, you may not come for my rights anymore, we have one recourse left, and I call that the last word. And let me tell you something, it's a loud, loud, loud word when it's spoken. It's going to be heard to the far ends of the solar system. And it's no joke and no game. You should look on YouTube at war footage and see what bullets do to the human body and what bombs do to the human body. You should psychologically watch it and understand it well. Because it ain't like it's depicted in Hollywood movies, folks. At all. At all. And that's going to come, this is going to come to America if we are not careful in how we proceed. And a big, big, big shouldering of responsibility comes directly down on the people who do understand this information that I'm presenting. Because if we shirk our responsibility to teach this widely and freely to as many people as we can reach, we're going to be complicit in what's going to happen. George Washington said, when any nation mistrusts its citizens with guns, it is sending a clear message. It no longer trusts its citizens because such a government has evil plans. Thomas Paine said, arms discourage and keep the invader and plunderer in awe and preserve order in the world as well as prosperity. Horrid mischief would ensue were the law-abiding deprived the use of firearms. The founding fathers of America explaining why it is necessary to have an AR-15 if the police and military have them. They knew and tried to tell us. See, this phrase is something I want to put out there more to help people to understand. Ultima ratio populi. It's Latin. It means the last reason of the people. Or as I like to refer to it, the last word. This is the final say and the final explaining of our rights to those who are oppressors and people who hold us in the condition of duress and slavery. And I do not want to see it have to come down to that, but if it does, just like the revolutionaries of America, I'll take that eventuality if I have to, because it will allow for the future preservation of the understanding of rights and freedom. That was the blood sacrifice that the founders and revolutionaries did for this nation. Because without them doing that, the idea of true freedom could have been buried and gone from the earth. It was preserved here in a deeper fashion than it ever has been anywhere else in the world, which has allowed someone's understanding like myself to flourish and grow about what real freedom is because of the words they wrote and how they were preserved and how other teachings of many other brilliant men and women were preserved as well. That's what the role of real education is, and that's why conscious parenting is so important, to teach the young moral principles. But see, that's going to become harder and harder as they ramp up censorship efforts. And this is a very, very dangerous proposition for them doing this. And then advancing these gun control agendas in conjunction with the censorship. Now they're trying to control the very narrative. They're trying to control our ability to explain the reality of the situation to others. And they have no right to do this. People will argue, oh, they're a private corporation, they have every right to control this, that, and the other thing. No, they're acting as a public service, and they're allowing the propagation of one side of the story without allowing the propagation of all sides of the story. Whether the person's right or wrong, they have the freedom of speech to put their take out online. And YouTube and Google and these other evil corporations that are trying to control the internet are doing something that is going to lead to war. It's going to lead to war. Traitors. Yeah, they're absolute traitors to this country and its people. Absolute traitors. Because as John F. Kennedy said, those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable. And I would say self-defensive revolution will become inevitable, not violent. That's the only word he got wrong in that sentence. Yeah. Yep. And they're trying to make the peaceful mode of resistance to tyranny and the education of the population impossible. And when that happens, and we can't say the lost word, we're going to break out the last word.